Today in the crypto space, we've seen another round of green price action. Bitcoin at about 25,800, Ethereum right around that $1,900 mark, and these altcoins deep in the green: Altcoin, Matic, Chainlink, OKB, Uniswap, Kaspa, VeChain, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that is looking pretty good, and that altcoin is called Microvisionchain space. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of this market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. But better yet, guys, join that Discord. The Discord is a great community. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's take a look at what's happening here in the market. Of course, today's video is about Microvisionchain space. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, of course, as a leading indicator. It could tell us what could be happening in the immediate short term with regards to altcoins, of course, space being one of them. But first, let's go and take a look at what this market has been up to in the last little while. Bitcoin is still within range. Of course, Bitcoin in the last little while has been getting a nice little pop to the upside. A lot of us believe that we could be getting another little leg to the upside, which could be really good for this market to see a continuation to the upside. I think a better question is, or a bigger question as far as altcoins go, because we know that altcoins are still undervalued in comparison to Bitcoin. Just by measurement of Ethereum, basically Ethereum has yet to really move, right? It kind of is slow grinding to the upside, but no big explosive move to the upside just yet. So it could be that we see Ethereum lead the way for an altcoin season or an altcoin rally, although we have seen altcoins already, some of them, the lower caps, the ones that we've been talking about here on the channel already, have kind of moved already. So we'll keep an eye on those as well. But I'm also keeping an eye on these larger cap altcoins that haven't really moved yet. Like if you look at Ethereum, for example, BNB kind of going sideways. We have Solana did its move, but still not really. I want to see Solana do another impulsive move. Cardano really didn't do much either. 20% to the upside in the last 7 days, fine. Dogecoin, obviously not even that much as well, 11% in the last 7 days, but really in comparison to what it should be doing if this was a legit altcoin season, it should be doing a lot better, right? Chainlink 30%. Now we're getting there. 25% for Polygon, and so on and so forth. We have AVAX about 12%, and so on. And if you continue seeing, this market is either going sideways or continuing to the upside. And as long as Bitcoin is within its consolidation or within that upward sloping channel and not below about 24K, I think we're good. I think you could see a continuation for a lot of these altcoins to continue pumping up and reaching higher levels. We have HBAR slow grind to the upside. We have Filecoin still at the bottom of the range, but in the short term, you can see it's still up 13.8%. Big picture, it hasn't really done much. So we could see Filecoin definitely do a great move to the upside. What else do we have here? Kaspa, slow grinding, still grinding, 41% in 7 days, but this thing's up multiple X's already. So if you're into Kaspa, guys, congrats. Just come up with a plan on how you're going to protect those gains if and when Kaspa does decide to take a bit of a break. Kaspa is definitely on fire. I've been taking a bit of profits along the way here and there just to make sure that I de-risk and reduce my position size, and I've been cycling my capital into other altcoins that have been also doing very well. So that is the plan, right? If an altcoin rallies, take a bit of profits and look for another one that hasn't really popped yet, right? So Near Protocol coming down to lower levels. Unfortunate to see Near take a bit of a dip here while the rest of the market is so deep in the green. Injective kind of going sideways right now, but it did outperform the market previously. So keep an eye on Injective. Arbitrum, yeah, going to sideways after a nice little pop, but you can see, generally speaking, this market is doing a very similar thing. Rallied up, going sideways. Stacks waking up a little bit here, 4.5% to 5% in the last 24 hours, doing pretty good. You can see that all these altcoins are deep in the green. A lot of them are great double-digit gains. So be careful here, guys. Now it's time to have a strategy ready to go for profit taking. Rollbit's going sideways, guys, in a bit of a dip, a bit of a slump, but we know that Rollbit has been tearing it up already. So this is nothing in comparison to the gains that you could have made if you got in nice and early. So pretty good there. Kava waking up a little bit, 3.5%. What else do we have? A slow grind to the upside for Gala. This is good for the Gala community to see Gala make a bit of a comeback. I think it's definitely undervalued given all that, FUD that came out with the team members kind of struggling to get along. Trust Wallet down 16%, guys. It did very well. So a 16% dip is nothing significant, and of course it's all because BNB came up with their news, and buy the rumor, sell the news, and this is what happened with Trust Wallet. Okay, a bit of a dip here. CFX grinding to the upside, slow and steady. Still not a big gainer just yet, so maybe their time is to come. What else do we have here? Slow grinding or going sideways, and that's what we are seeing. Illuvium waking up a little bit here, 20% today, pretty good gainer. Never mind. And Arweave maybe waking up finally. Okay, so overall consensus in this market is that we're getting continuations. We're definitely showing a bit of strength here in this market, which is good. And bit by bit, we're getting more gainers. Now, as these gainers continue, basically lining our pockets, our bags are nice and green. We got to understand the emotions are going to start to kick in. And as soon as you see yourself feeling emotional, take a deep breath, take it easy here, guys, because this is where the magic happens. Either you get you start making decisions that are not very sound, not very logical, and not really controlled, and that's very problematic. And basically at this moment you should be considering protecting your gains. All right, guys, let's take a look at Bitcoin. I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin, the heavyweight here. Bitcoin currently trying to test the higher levels, maybe looking for that breakout. So that breakout is quite interesting, because if it breaks out, we're going to see Bitcoin hit those higher levels, and it could be possible that we see a continuation of these altcoins as well, following Bitcoin's lead, following the momentum in the overall market that it's swelling up here. So we're going to see a lot of these altcoins follow Bitcoin. Now, we did discuss Bitcoin in both bearish bullish terms. Let's do that in a little bit more detail. We do see that Bitcoin's bearish divergence is still intact. Okay, so let me get rid of this yellow. You can see that the momentum here on the daily on the RSI is downward sloping, while the price action is clearly still upward sloping. It doesn't mean that bearish divergence has to play out, and it doesn't mean that it can't be invalidated. We've been seeing a lot of bearish divergences become invalidated in the last little while. The MACD EMA cross to the downside, red histogram bars to the downside as well. We have had that in the past. We are definitely in a very bullish zone right here, definitely in a bullish control zone. Do we get a bit of a dip and then continuation? Very possible here, guys, but just understand that Bitcoin itself is over 100% from its bottom. So we have to understand that maybe a breather is due any moment, and it may take some time before we actually see that happen. So be careful here, and this is why I'm using Bitcoin as a leading indicator, is because if Bitcoin decides to roll over any moment now, even a dip like this one, where it just kind of comes down and takes a bit of a break, you're going to see some of these altcoins take a dip as well. So this is where you want to protect yourself. This is where you want to, take a bit of profit, scale up those, trail up those stop losses so that you can put yourself in a bit of profit. On the 4 hour, I do see that the 4 hour is looking for another bounce or another test of the overbought conditions. Okay, so this is very important, guys, because if we do get this bounce and we do see the 4 hour momentum get into overbought conditions, it's going to tell you that the daily is looking for that confirmation. The confirmation similar to some of these peaks and valleys at the previous levels that we've got overbought conditions. We're going to probably look for another higher high or a confirmation low as a high, which would be a lower high here. And that would be a bit of a data that we can take here and use that for an indication that maybe we are going to get that divergence eventually. So we're getting a confirmation. We're looking for a bit of a pop here, and it looks like we are using the 50% mark, the chop zone level here on the RSI, as a support zone, and maybe get back up into overbought. It could be a lower high here on the momentum, totally fine. It's still downward sloping, but the price action is going to continue if that happens, and it's very likely that we hit about 40k If that happens, maybe a 40K Bitcoin is around the corner, a nice psychological level, a good level for taking a bit of profits once again, especially on those altcoins. Okay, so that's my take here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done a great job carrying this market to higher levels, bringing in a lot of interest, bringing in a lot of liquidity. Right now, the MACD on the 4 hour is looking pretty good as well. EMA is facing up, green histogram bars to the upside, and the daily, you know, again, back to the daily, look what's happening here. So we could kind of lose this bearish momentum to the downside and finally pop upwards, which again is going to look bullish and look very healthy for the entire market, not just for Bitcoin. All right, guys, let's take a look at Space. The project for today is Space Microvisionchain. And, you know, of course, I've been looking at a lot of these altcoins that have yet to run. You know, we've been talking about a lot of them live. Obviously, guys, join me live in tonight's live stream. We'll talk about more altcoins. And if you have any projects you want me to take a look at, that's a great time and place to make those requests. I put your requests in top priority. And as now you can kind of see that, you know, Microvisionchain in comparison to a lot of other projects haven't really moved. We have many others that we've been talking about here that are really reaching previous highs and even price discovery for that matter. So we kind of see that we came down, got that confirmation, a back test of this previous low, basically making a nice higher low, giving us the confirmation that this was the low. Pretty good. Now what we need is a higher high. Upon the break of this price action right here, I feel like we're going to get a lot of impulsive moves to the upside. Okay, so I don't think the biggest move of Microvisionchain of Space has come in just yet. Although de-risking in this level is not bad if and only if you got in here at this bottom. The reason being is you see a little bit of resistance here, and we are kind of playing out this in this zone. And as we consolidate in this area and bring in volume into this area, you're noticing that the volume gaps are slowly closing up, and we're building and building more volume in this zone. So this is where the magic happens, guys. If we do break up, it's very likely that we start trekking to higher levels, which I'm looking at about a $15.5 space, and that would be another level of de-risking. Now, if you think about it, if you happen to get in right at this level and your average cost was here, and you happen to get out at this level, you're up 56%. You took a bit of profits at this red arrow. Then we came back, and then we could potentially, based on lower time frames, have bought the back test, and you can see the 4 hour. The 4 hour in this level was definitely, you know, coming down to these areas and potentially looking for some support. Now, it was very hard, but you can see a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, and it could have been a great area to DCA based on the top of this volume gap. Okay, now this is a good entry as well, and I would be protecting this entry by putting stop losses underneath this low, especially if you got in on this entry. Okay, this entry right here at about $8, 7.9, $7.98 more or less. This is an area where it could be tested once again if we lose this zone. And you can see that it looks pretty healthy. You know, a nice rally up, a nice back test, a nice confirmation. Now, we did get a bit of a rejection, but we could be consolidating in this zone to potentially break out of these previous highs. Now, I don't want you to get it totally confused here, but a lot of people might be looking at this as a cup and handle. Guys, this is not a cup and handle at the current moment. The retracement from the previous high was way too deep, and in my opinion, obviously, and using the actual traditional technical analysis approach, this is not a cup and handle. The retracement fell way too deep, lower than the 50% retracement. So this is a problem here if you're going to look at it. But the sentiment is still there, right? The sentiment in the sense that it ran up, got rejected, is coming back down, got some support on the 200. EMA on the 4 hour, got support at this volume gap, right, which is very confluent with a lot of this price action. Could suggest that all we did is come down, pick up some more bullish bids for another attempt of breaking these highs. Now, if we break these highs eventually, this accumulation range will definitely be a range where people will get basically rewarded for taking a bit of risk at this level. But this is why I'm saying, if you're going to take risk around this zone, you're going to have to put a stop loss right here. Now, at this level was obviously the best risk to reward ratio opportunity, guys. If you see any projects that are testing previous lows and currently consolidating, and you know, you can put a nice tight stop loss, this is the area to get in. And this is where I've been talking about Microvisionchain. I did a deep dive on Microvisionchain, and this is the zone where I was kind of, you know, pinpointing my entries. Now, this was not bad, and of course now we're looking for breakouts to the upside. Now, what's really happening here is if you get in at this current moment, you're a breakout trader. Okay, my bread and butter, my main strategy is not breakout trading. I buy dips and I look for good, healthy risk to reward ratios with good levels of invalidation and divergences. At this level, you're a breakout trader. A safe breakout trader will slowly scale in. And what I mean by that is this. Right now, you would probably be looking at looking for an entry at the break point, which would be at about $10.82. You can get in with a little bit of your position. Get in with a little bit. We break out, we go up, we back test, come back down, and perform some sort of confirmation. We don't know how low this is going to be, but upon the confirmation low, a higher low, back testing the previous resistance as support, you want to get in with a little bit more. And then upon that support, you basically want to wait for that whole position to retest this previous high, and then on the break of this previous high, you want to get in a little bit more. Obviously, you're building a position all within this range, ultimately taking a bit of risk, increasing your risk one step at a time. The reality is, what about if we get rejected and come back down? That's the problem here, guys. And that with a breakout trade type of strategy, that's the biggest issue. Now, we've been seeing a lot of these altcoins take off without any back test, and that's the risk you take by not getting all in at the current moment. So you got to really think about your risk to reward ratios. You got to think about your risk tolerance, yourself as a person, as a trader, and your overall exposure that you want to get into any of these altcoins, because right now you got to admit the overall risk to reward ratio is not the healthiest. You're actually buying into a green pump, and that's what you can see here. Higher highs, and we're higher lows, and we're potentially trying to make a higher high right now. Okay, guys, so that's my take here on Microvisionchain. If you get into lower time frames, they might be able to help you here, but you can see a lot of chop action, a lot of sideways, and in fact, this looks like it wants to really break out of this neckline, which is at about $11 more or less. Okay, guys, so keep that in mind. The weekly doesn't have much data. The 4-day is obviously doesn't have much data, but the daily is looking like maybe this was the bottom and this was the level to take a bit of risk. Look, the momentum got slightly oversold, and now we are potentially looking for overbought conditions on the daily. Okay, so this is important as well. If you look at the daily time frame, guys, the daily time frame is almost approaching the overbought scenario. It haven't gotten overbought yet. In fact, it wasn't even really overbought at this level, which was at its previous high. What about if this is the chance, this is the moment where this thing actually gets overbought? If it does get overbought here on the daily, I'm expecting this thing to get into price discovery. Okay, like many other altcoins. Look at Tau and many others that are just ripping it. So this is the thing. You got to want to get in at lower, good risk to reward ratios where the bottoms are likely, just probability. And at this current moment, this is where the majority of the volume, this is where the majority of the pump can actually come in. So keep this all in mind, guys. We don't want to take risk, undue risk, but at the same time, we want to have a bit of skin in the game just in case this thing runs up to higher levels. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap that like button. I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern if you want to talk about crypto news and price action. And if you have any projects you want me to take a look at in tonight's live stream, that's a great time and place to join the community. All right, guys, take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.